Judge Ann Celine Walsh was supposed to be here today. However, unfortunately and suddenly, her father-in-law passed away, so she had to attend the funeral today. Thank you. Thank you.
My name is Rick Felice. I am a circuit court judge in DuPage County. I was unanimously appointed by the Illinois Supreme Court to fill the O'Shea vacancy. I've been sitting on the bench since late last year. Thank you for your hospitality here tonight to invite me. I've been a lawyer for 40 years, practiced in a number of areas of law, was a businessman, ran my own office. I understand what it takes to run a small business. And I also believe, as a circuit court judge, that fairness, accountability, integrity, and the rule of law. Every person that comes into my courtroom is treated with dignity and respect. And I expect everybody in that courtroom to also be treated as individuals the same way that I do. Similar to what Judge McCluskey said, I view this job as an opportunity to serve every citizen. And I do that on a daily basis when I work. I'm not here to have people serve me. I'm proud to have the position. I'd like to keep the position as circuit court judge so that I continue to serve the community with the dignity and respect you deserve. Thank you.
The candidates, as I said, that I have not seated up here. We will ask the candidates to speak after everybody has had an opportunity to speak that's on the stage here. For the efficiency of the event, we are going to give a few minutes to each candidate to speak, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. I will not be introducing every person again. So what I'd like to do is have all the candidates look at the screen, and hopefully having you sit in order is going to help you. So I would first like to invite Congressman Foster, please.
Hello, I'm Congressman Bill Foster. I'm a scientist, a businessman, and the son of a civil rights lawyer, and I'm proud to represent the 11th District of Illinois in the U.S. Congress. I'd like to thank everyone for attending tonight, and to the Islamic Center of Naperville for hosting this event. I'm honored to represent such a diverse and vibrant district, and I'm proud to fight for the issues that we care most about. I will continue to stand up to the Trump administration's ugly words and harmful policies, and against the forces that are driving hate and divisiveness in countries from the United States to India and around the world. I stood up for our district and our nation to call out the Trump administration when they implemented the xenophobic Muslim ban, as well as when they I'm sure many of you remember those meetings. And when they ripped children from their families at the border. And I've been to the Islamic Center of Naperville numerous times over the past few years to emphasize my support of our diverse community during stressful incidents that are known too well to you. America is a nation of immigrants, built on tolerance and freedom of religion, and I'm proud of my record of standing up for immigrant communities in our district and across the United States. I also have a record of taking tough votes and supporting fact-based policies to make fact-based progress and not imaginary progress, to improve the lives of all Americans. Like when I proudly voted for the Affordable Care Act or the DREAM Act, knowing that it would put my re-election at risk, as in fact it did. And that's why I am going to keep fighting the corrupt Trump administration's continued attempts to vilify people on the basis of religion or country of origin, to implement hurtful and racist immigration policies, to defund the Environmental Protection Agency and gut environmental protections, to repeal the Affordable Care Act, to play nuclear roulette with North Korea and Iran, to undercut our justice system and to damage the future of our country. As a scientist, I believe that climate change is real, and that's why I'm proud to be the only candidate in this race endorsed by the Sierra Club, a an organization that cares deeply about climate change. In fact, my campaign has been endorsed by every single elected official who's endorsed in this race, from Senators Dick Durbin and Tammy Duckworth to 11 members of the Will County Board and everyone in between. I've been endorsed by every newspaper that is endorsed in this race, including the Daily Herald, the Chicago Tribune, and the Chicago Sun-Times. I've been endorsed by labor groups, including the Illinois AFL-CIO, the Building Trades, the Letter Carriers, the Illinois Federation of Teachers, just to name a few. And in fact, when I first ran for Congress, my campaign was endorsed by 31 Nobel Prize winners, which I believe is a record for a House race. But most importantly, I am proud to be part of the House Democratic majority, which has shown Americans what we stand for. Protecting and defending the Affordable Care Act, election and campaign finance reform, universal background checks for gun purchases, a nationwide $15 minimum wage, fighting back against climate change are just a few of the areas that we have succeeded in passing major legislation through the United States House to help working families and to protect our democracy. In the next month, in fact, the House will be voting on the No Ban Act to permanently repeal Trump's Muslim travel ban. Now, it remains to be seen whether Mitch McConnell will even allow a vote on this in the Senate, but the American people will know where we stand. So I'm proud to have been part of these historic achievements, but there are still big fights left to win. The Senate must pass the DREAM Act to help 42,000 dreamers in Illinois, and that must be followed by comprehensive immigration reform. And we must lower the cost of prescription drugs with bills like H.R. 3, which has already passed the House, and to move towards universal health care coverage and pass workable legislation to halt and reverse climate change. So I hope that I earn your vote to continue fighting for the people of the 11th District with a Democratic President and a Democratic Senate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Congressman.
In the name of God, most compassionate, most merciful. First of all, I'm not running for office. I'd like to welcome the gathering on behalf of the Islamic Center of Naperville with Islamic saying Assalamu alaikum, which means may peace be upon you. I wanted to quickly introduce the Islamic Center of Naperville and the ICN community to the candidates who are here. The Islamic Center of Naperville is one of the largest Muslim organizations in the Chicagoland area, with 3 facilities in Naperville, with plans for a 4th facility that will be ready by the end of next year, God willing. We serve about 2,500 families, and as you can imagine, we've seen exponential growth in the community for the past few years, and we continue to grow. Now, serving the community at large is an integral part of our faith, because our prophet, peace be upon him, said, none of you truly believes until you love for your neighbor what you love for yourself. So whether it's packing food at the Feed My Starving Children, or volunteering at the local homeless shelter, or standing in solidarity for Black Lives Matter, or working with the local law enforcement, the Islamic Center of Naperville has always been at the forefront of community service. And as a long-standing member of the Naperville Interfaith Leaders Association, we are a strong proponent of community outreach and promoting communal harmony. For the longest time, our community has been focusing on establishing our careers and educating our children. But in the past few years, we realized that we have to be more politically involved, which is why at ICN we established a political engagement committee that has been very active in the past few years, and that's the committee that was responsible for today's event. That's the committee that is responsible for Get Out the Vote campaign. So I'd like you to join me in recognizing the members of the political engagement committee of ICN. So what do we want from our elected officials? Well, just like all Americans, we want a strong economy, good jobs, affordable health care, and a safe environment for our children to grow up in. But there is one thing that impacts us Muslims more than others, and that is the divisive politics of hate and intolerance that has been permeating down to the segments of the society, that we worry not only for the safety of our community, but for the well-being of the society in general. Now, in addition to domestic policy, we are also very passionate about international issues relating to human rights and religious persecutions for two reasons. But the obvious reason is our moral obligation to stand up for justice. And the second reason is that some of these issues directly impact our families in the countries that we came from. So we want our elected officials to recognize that the greatness of our nation does not lie in fragmenting society through fear and hate, but in celebrating our diversity, in uniting all peoples to make a strong, united America. Thank you, and God bless America.
Good evening and Assalamu alaikum. First of all, I'd like to commend ICN, a wonderful organization under a great leadership of Shoaib Bhai and everyone else who have been running such a nice organization, keeping everyone of us together. I'm not a stranger here to this organization. I've been here many, many times. I've been working with the leadership, engaging with them, helping each other. I've been in Naperville for many, many years, working with cities, working with other local governments to establish our identities, help each other to see where the issues are coming. My name is Krishna Benson. I'm running for Congress from District 11. Now, why I'm running? I came, like most of you, around 20 years back with a dream, with nothing in my pocket. This is here. I was able to build a very nice business, well-paying business for employees, and raise my beautiful family with 2 daughters, one in college, other in high school. This is a country that has given us a lot. And we all believe in this country. That's why we all came here. The liberty. This country has given us the religious freedom. That's one of the big things the Constitution guarantees. And I have been a big advocate for that. Now, definitely we all came for, we need to have the financial success. We need to have a good environment to raise our families, secure environment, so we all can work together, we can flourish. And I want to keep that happening. I am someone who understands our issues. I am someone who has been working together, we have been working together. I'm looking to take this to the next level, work with Congress, work in Congress, work with the federal agencies, so we can take our issues that have not been heard. So that's why I'm running for Congress. Now, I have a lot of information on my website and we can discuss about the issues, policies, but one thing I'm here to say, I'm one of you. I'm here to take our cause, take our fight. There should not be any discrimination. I was someone who took the fight of hate crime in 2016 all the way. We organized forums and multiple town halls across Chicagoland area to fight those with all of us together. So thank you again for getting involved. That's very important. One thing I always like to say is, for us to get engaged in the American political system is very, very important. So thank you for taking this step, coming forward, organizing this, making ourselves aware and getting involved. I look forward working with you as I have always and would like to represent you in Congress. Thank you, and I look forward for your support and help to win this race. Thank you so much.
I've lost track of how many events we did last cycle here and the welcoming mosque events we did. I thank you for all that you do to be a beacon of tolerance in the community. Because goodness knows we need it, and I appreciate your support here. As many of you know, I am now, I guess, halfway through my first term freshman class in Congress. This is the biggest freshman class since Watergate. It is the most diverse class that has ever come into Congress. We have more women than men in our freshman class. We have the first two Muslim Americans serving in Congress. We have doubled the size of the LGBT caucus in Congress. We have the first two Native American women. And as you can tell from looking at me, I don't check any of those boxes. But there's also a much more interesting ideological diversity we have. Ideological diversity in the last Congress. Because we have so many people who did not run for Congress because they had a career in politics, but because one of the few good things, maybe the only good thing that Trump has done for our country is he inspired people to get into public service. And myself and Dean Phillips are two ex-CEOs, me from the clean energy industry, he was into Lincoln Ice Cream. We have two former spies. We have the former teacher of the year, John Hayes. And as one of my senior colleagues said, the real challenge we have with your class is that you all value expertise over seniority, and that's hard for us to get used to around here. And it's been a pretty neat environment. And going in, being the guy who ran with a concern about climate change, with an understanding of energy policy, and then to go in the first year and to represent the United States at the COP conference in Madrid, because the United States, as you recall, pulled out of the Paris Climate Accord, and so we led a congressional delegation to let the rest of the world know that we are still in, that science still matters, that we still have an understanding of what has to be done in order to preserve our species, and then to lead the effort with Lauren Underwood to repeal the state and local tax cap for this district, which we did get passed out of the House. We need to see it bring up in Congress. But we did get that passed out of the House in the last session. And I'm extremely proud to have to be a co-sponsor of the No Man Act, which I expect we will pass on the floor next week. This is a direct response to the Trump administration that says you cannot ban people from coming to the country based solely on their religion. It is embarrassing. It is shameful that we even had to pass that law, and it is shameful that that has become partisan. But I am delighted and proud to be part of the movement that's going on. So I'm grateful to all of you for your support. I hope I can count on your continued support as we go into 2020. Thank you all very much.
Peace, brothers and sisters. My name is Anthony Catella. I'm from St. Charles, Illinois, and I'm one of the Republican candidates that seeks the Republican nomination for the 14th District of the great sovereign state of Illinois. Today I can stand before you and say with a clear conscience that I accept the proposition, the decent, good proposition, that we must have a country and a world free from adversity and safe for diversity. I grew up in St. Charles, Illinois, north and west of here, and I attended Quincy College in Quincy, Illinois. I was the second person to graduate under the university title. I had a degree in American Studies. I was awarded a degree in American Studies. It took me 5 years to get out of there. I finally did, but I take a little comfort in the fact that it took Pat 5 years to graduate from the military academy. So I guess I'm in good company. But I did go in the military after college. I was 5 years active duty. Well, my degree was American Studies, and I was happy to have an internship with a state representative and a state senator. And that kind of pointed me in the direction of public service. And of course, I felt obligated to serve my country, and I wasn't afraid to stand up and raise my right hand to heaven and swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. And I was a military policeman in the United States Army, and then I entered the seminary, as a matter of fact. After the military, I studied for the priesthood, and I became ordained a Catholic priest, and I was also commissioned an Army officer with the preparation to be an Army chaplain. And I served in a parish in a southern state diocese for a number of years. But then in 2015, I came back home. I felt God calling me truly into public service. And so in 2016, I became involved in politics in King County as an election judge, and then as a precinct committeeman. And I want to close quickly, and I decided to run for Congress because 104 years ago, my great-great-uncle, who was an immigrant from Italy, came to the United States in 1900, became a citizen, learned the language, became an attorney and a local politician, and ran for the Illinois 8th District in 1916. He didn't win. So 104 years later, I thought maybe I might change that. Now, if the Cubs can do it, so can I. I will close now. I'd like to cite the fact that today is February 22nd. Today is George Washington's birthday. He lived from 1732 to 1799. And on the day he became our first president, April 30th, 1789, by unanimous vote, he uttered a prophetical statement about American politics and American political tradition. He said, "The preservation of the sacred fire of liberty and the destiny of the Republican model of government are justly considered, perhaps as deeply as finally staked upon the experiment entrusted to the hands of the American people. My fellow Americans and Illinoisans, it is in our hands. May God guide us." Amen.
It's good to have some fans in the audience. So my name is Dr. Gordon Kitzel. I'm running for Congressional District 6. I'm the Republican candidate. I'm a kidney transplant surgeon. I'm not a career politician. I have a regular job I work every day at, just like all of you guys. I'm also a colonel in the U.S. Army Reserve. I've served now for 13 years, and I'm stationed mainly at Fort Benning. The main reason I'm running to be your representative in Congressional District 6 is because I'm very concerned with the current Congress, which is a very socialist agenda. We've heard all kinds of different things. They're all very important. The minimum wage, low taxes, deductions, the environment. All those things are very important. But the most important thing to everybody in this room is that we need to always avoid going in a socialist direction. Because we know from Karl Marx that the first thing that communists do to get people away from a free society and a free market is to go from free market to socialism, then to communism. We all know the plight of the Muslim community and the Muslim minorities in China. There's over 1 million Muslim minorities now in concentration camps and basically redoctrination camps. This is the first thing that a socialist government does, is they take away our ability to practice the religion the way we want to. There won't be any mosques, there won't be any Catholic churches, there won't be any synagogues. Because religion is something that the socialists first have to get rid of. And that's basically what got me into this race. Now I'm a physician, so I know a little bit about medicine. I've been a practicing physician for over 30 years. I practice with many great surgeons and physicians who are in the Islamic community. When I have a tough case, urologic reconstruction, I refer them to a guy named Ned Jelskafi. We know that the chairman of Children's Memorial Surgery Department is a Muslim. So basically, I know from firsthand experience the importance of the Muslim community, and I think that was brought up very well by you in your opening statement. Many people who offer health care are attorneys in Congress now, and I have nothing against an attorney. My brother's an attorney, and I love him. But basically, they've never taken care of a patient in their life. I know from the inside how to take care of people. The other thing that I'm going to focus on is Illinois corruption. Illinois is very corrupt thanks to a one-party system. We're the most corrupt state in the entire country. I think from the federal level, we can start cleaning up Illinois corruption, making Illinois the great state that it once was. And thirdly, and most importantly, is we need to keep our communities and families safe. I am a big proponent of any non-discriminatory type of systems. You know, I do kidney transplants. I did 5 kidney transplants in the month of December. And what I found in my work is that a kidney from any race or religion works really good in any other person or recipient from any race or religion. And after I make just a 1 millimeter incision in our skin, everybody looks the same. The red's the blood, the veins are blue, the tissue's white, fat's yellow. And I see this every day. And that's basically what I'm asking. Just as a lot of people in this community feel that people who've come from my background or whatever don't give them a fair shot, I ask that you give me a fair shot. Because I think it's important to judge a man or a person by what they do, not by how they look or what religion they are or how they've been brought up. And so I ask for your support. Again, my name is Dr. Gordon J. Kinsler. I'm running to be the Republican candidate for Congressional District 6. I will be in the back hallway for the next few minutes, and I'd be happy to answer any questions specific to what I do and what my plans are. And I look forward to meeting with you. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
Broke my computer. John? I apologize. My name is Rachel Ventura, and I'm running for Congress in the 11th Congressional District. I am a mother, a mathematician, and naturalist. I was born in Joliet, and I've returned there. I went to Benedictine, did my math degree, and I worked as an actuary in the insurance industry for 4 years, where I saw then how our system profits off of the sickness and deaths of others. I then returned to school and got a biology degree, and I worked as a naturalist in the Georgia State Parks, restoring our longleaf pine forest and protecting our tidal waters and endangered animals there. One of the things that got me into this race was the fact that Congressman Foster was not willing to sign on to the Medicare for All bill that was in the House last year. He also will not support the Green New Deal. As a scientist, I found this unfathomable. So I entered last year my name into the race, but I found that there were so many more communities who were not happy what was happening in Congress. Everything from the wealth gap that we see to low-paying jobs to the fact that we don't have fair education. I believe that we need to prioritize our tax dollars into our health care, our education, good-paying jobs, and moving to renewable energy. The Green New Deal wouldn't just put Americans back to work making a living wage, it would also transition us to renewable energy and allow you to save money on lowering your home energy bills and transitioning to electric vehicles. Medicare for All would allow everybody to have health care. 95% of all Americans would save money under this plan, and it would be expanded to include dental care, mental health care, vision, and hearing. All of us need health care. All of us. This is a human right. And having a quality of life through taking care of our families, through taking care of our bodies, and taking care of our souls, this is what all Americans strive for. And it would close some of the other problems we see with the social aspects. There have been some very disturbing votes recently by Congressman Bill Foster. Some of them include our trade agreements that don't put human rights first and foremost and don't put our environment first. I would support trade agreements that would encourage countries to protect everyone's human rights, whether it's here or in India. And I know there are some very real concerns of what is happening in India. I hear you, and I know that these are important, and we must use our Congress and our President to work with the United Nations to make sure that we are holding everyone's ability for freedom of religion sacred. Now, while I have many endorsements, I
I want to let you know that it is your endorsement that means the most. It is time that we return our government to the people, not to our rich donors, but to you. So I'm not taking corporate PAC dollars. And the only endorsement that matters most is when you walk into that voter booth and you vote for someone who has been a part of your community, who will stay the entire time and listen to your questions and your concerns and do the best to represent you, the voters in Washington. And it is time that we send someone to Washington who will be a fighter, who will fight to close the wealth gap, who will fight for education and health care instead of endless wars and corporate bailouts. Someone who will fight Donald Trump's racist agenda, and someone who will fight other governments who are willing to have right-wing racist agendas of their own. I'm asking you on March 17th. I'm asking you on March 17th to not just go to the polls and vote, but bring your entire family and know that there is a chance to give our government back to the people. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Michael Crowner. I'm seeking the Democratic nomination for Illinois State Senate, the 49th District. I want to thank you all for inviting all of us tonight and for putting on this event. It's truly an honor to meet you all. I am from Will County, raised here. I'm raising my family here. My parents have always instilled in me the ideas of hard work, dedication, and compassion and doing well for others. And it was because of that hard work and dedication that I was able to work my way through Northwestern University, where I earned a degree in economics. I also attended the Kellogg School of Management, where I earned an MBA in finance. And I've always thought about how can I use my skill sets to better community? How can I use the skills and the experiences that I have to help others? So throughout my career, I've helped unions, I've helped pension funds, I've helped legislators, I've helped municipalities, I've helped small business owners solve the most pressing fiscal problems that they have to address. And no one understands the importance of having a sound fiscal policy the way I do because of that experience, but also being able to balance that fiscal policy with providing the essential services that all of our communities rely on. And like many of you, I think about the world that I'm leaving behind for my child, right? And what I can do to improve that world and make sure that she grows up in a place that is, free from discrimination. As a person of color, I can truly empathize with a lot of the issues that were mentioned earlier, and that's why throughout my career, I have fought for embracing diversity and making sure that all cultures are appreciated. I've worked with legislators on laws that make sure that our diverse communities are appreciated, that people of all communities have opportunities to compete in this world and to make a better life for themselves. At the end of the day, I'm running because I want to make sure that my child, that your children, and your grandchildren have an opportunity to grow up in a state where they can attend affordable universities, have an opportunity to have good paying jobs when they graduate from those universities, and also to make sure that no one has to make a decision between paying their bills or paying for health care. Because at the end of the day, health care is a human right. It is not a privilege for the few, and I will do everything I can to secure that ability. So again, I appreciate your time tonight. Thank you so much for having me. Just know that I appreciate the concerns that you all have, and with me, you will have an ally in Springfield who will fight very hard for you all. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for the invitation to come back. It feels like I'm with family when I come to the ICN. So thank you all for always being so attentive and welcoming to me. This event is so wonderful for so many for healthcare, for mental health. I promise to be a voice for our children and for our immigrant community. I'm proud as I stand here in front of all of you to say that I did just that as a freshman in Springfield. So I'm going to focus just on the immigration part, just for a quick second, because it's something that really unites our communities. Because I know that earlier someone mentioned that when you cut our veins, our blood is the same color. But let's face it, when you look at our faces, in my opinion, are beautiful faces. There's a discrimination that has been happening in this country when people look at us and see the color of our skin. In the state of Illinois, the legislators worked so hard that we passed so many pieces of legislation to ensure that the state of Illinois is the safest state for immigrants in the United States. The state of Illinois is the safest state for all of us to live and prosper in. So much so that ICE wrote, there was an article that ICE was very upset at myself and my colleagues. Because guess why? They said those legislators in Illinois are making our jobs so difficult. Yeah, that's right, we are. Because people who want to go to work, people who want to raise their families, people who want to make sure that their children get an education and have a better life for tomorrow, we want to protect those people. And those are all of you, as well as my community. So I love my job as a state representative. I love it so much that when I was approached numerous times, being asked if I wanted to run to be an Illinois state senator, I said absolutely not. I love my job and I'm going to keep doing it. I kept saying no. I continued to do my job. I continued to work hard. And then there was a shooting in El Paso, Texas. That shooting was targeted to the Mexican community. That shooting happened where my family lives. So the first thing I did was I called my family and made sure they were okay. And then the world just kind of went dark for me. You see, in the past when there had been shootings, in the past when there had been travesties to minority communities, the first thing I would do was reach out to my friends to see how they were doing. Many times, the Muslim community was the victim of such hate crimes. I would reach out and say, what can we do? But this time it was different. This time it was my community. And I just didn't, I felt helpless. And so, currently I'm represented by Senator Jim Oberweis, who is a racist man who put out racist commercials. See, before the Donald Trump commercials, there were the Jim Oberweis commercials. And I thought to myself, I simply cannot be represented by a racist person. So I will answer the question of, will you run to be our state senator? And I will answer that question with a yes. I really commend all of you. I commend everybody, all of the candidates who are here today. Trump and his ban on Muslims in our country. I will commend them and I will gladly shake hands for those who will stand here and say that that is absolutely unacceptable. Thank you.
I'm Jeanette Ward. Thank you for inviting me to say a few words. I'm running for State Senate District 25 to defend life, liberty, sound fiscal policy, parental freedom, and the Second Amendment. And I'll focus briefly on fiscal and taxes reduced. We need to keep our promises to those who are near retirement, but move those new hires working for the state into a 401k type system that we have in the private sector. Ethics reform should close the revolving door between legislators becoming lobbyists and vice versa. And we shouldn't have legislators voting where they have a conflict of interest, like red light cameras, for example, or video gaming, for example. And maybe the Speaker of the Illinois House should know the chairman of his state's political party. Government should work for you, the people, not the other way around. And we need tax reduction. Certainly not allowing municipalities to add to the gas tax that's already been doubled by the state legislature. We also need to promote a culture of life in Illinois. We can disagree on the abortion issue, but no one should be forced another person's choice. I agree with President Trump that every child is a precious and sacred gift from God. The Illinois Reproductive Health Act, who was co-sponsored by the person who spoke just before me, and allows killing babies up to and including the moment of birth, needs to be repealed. When I served for 4 years on the largest elected board in Illinois, I promoted a culture of life, and I voted no on increasing taxes. If you vote for me, you will win with Ward when you vote for Jeanette for Senate. I can be found at JeanetteForSenate.com with the number 4, and I'm asking for your vote. Thank you.
I'm already short, so I'm gonna not stand behind the podium.
We can still see you.
Follow me now. Hi, my name is Danica McMillan. I'm running for state representative in District 41. I'm a Democratic candidate. I am a licensed clinical social worker, like Karina Villa, and I am not a politician. I've been doing social work for over 20 years. Mental health, working with people who are homeless, people in the hospital, and in 2018, the election that was held in my district are not heard when they talk. We need to listen to constituents in our area because they know what's best for them. I also want to say that I represent the working class. I myself, while I am a social worker, have 2 to 3 different jobs. I referee basketball, I also drive Lyft. So, I wanted to tell you guys about a little story about the other night when I was driving Lyft. So, I picked up these 2 people from, I guess, a comedy college. They were trying to come up with jokes. And one was talking about affirmations and how she should just stop saying them because it doesn't matter. And then they started talking about therapy. So then I said, guess what? I'm a social worker. And I said, it's good that you do these positive affirmations every day because sometimes it can be hard to start over and to feel like you matter. And we talked a little bit further, and they talked about how, they're not the type of person to be able to do comedy. And I told them about running for office. I said, I'm an introvert. So talking in front of people is not something that I usually like to do. But I felt like this is a time and a moment for me to run and to represent the people who don't have a voice. My platform is definitely about mental health because everybody right now is suffering in some kind of a way. It may not be a diagnosis, but there is stress, anxiety, and people need some someone to talk to about that. I feel like regardless of insurance, you should be able to go and have someone listen to you and help you try to get back on the right path. I also support the Clean Energy Jobs Act about the environment, because right now we're living in times that are like no other, where we have snow falling in Mexico and heat waves in Canada. And we want to try to get us back to, get us closer to renewable energy. I'm Danica McMillan. I'm running for state representative. Please, can I have your vote on March 17th? And hopefully we'll get to work together in the future. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, assalamu alaikum. I want to thank you all, and in particular the leadership of the Islamic community of Naperville, for putting on this forum and giving all the elected officials and candidates an opportunity. This is a huge, huge benefit to the community as well as to the candidates. So thank you very much. I'd like to give you all a round of applause for coming. My name is Azam Nizamuddin. I am running for Circuit Court Judge in DuPage County for the Patrick O'Shea seat. And I believe that I would like to get your vote for the following reasons. Number one, my experience. I'm an attorney for 20 years. I have worked for a large law firm, a small law firm. I have my own practice, now I'm general counsel for a company in Oak Brook. I've been a trial attorney for the first 15 years. And currently, I am the chair of the civil law section of the DuPage County Bar Association and the former editor-in-chief of the DuPage County Bar Association Journal. I am highly recommended. In fact, I'm the only person running for the O'Shea seat that is highly recommended by the DuPage Bar Association, and I'm also the only one that is recommended by the Illinois State Bar Association Judiciary Advisory Poll as well. Thank you. I have received endorsements from 2 current congresspeople. I have received endorsements from 4 state reps, as well as 1 state senate, and several DuPage County elected officials as well. But to be frank, not only am I qualified based on what you just heard, why am I running in the year 2020? I believe that it's time for DuPage County, particularly the judiciary, to represent all the people of DuPage County, particularly our community. It's high time that happens. Secondly, I strongly believe in justice. As a judge, when cases come before me, I will not only apply the relevant law and the relevant facts, but I will have the discretion to look at each case and apply and make sure that a just result occurs that is fair to all the parties. How can we assure that happens? You can look at my background. For 25 years, I have been an interfaith and civic leader, helping communicate who I am and not, discuss this issue. I was invited on Channel 11 Chicago tonight to debate the travel ban issue with another person. I've appeared on radio as well as television challenging when this administration was separating families at the border and putting children in cages. I stood up, I publicly spoke out, and I challenged that administration. Based on my background, you will know that when I take the bench, when somebody comes before me as a litigant, I will treat everybody fairly and respectfully, but I will also treat people with tremendous justice so that people are not mistreated. And just in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, this is the most important election of our lifetime. It is vital for our community, the South Asian community, the Muslim community, the African American community, the Hispanic community, everybody, all members of the communities to come out and vote on March 17th or earlier. Voting has already started. If you're not registered to vote, make sure you're registered to vote. Make sure that if you have elderly parents or relatives or friends, that they do mail-in ballots, but make sure you have a plan to vote on or before March 17th. And I hope that this election, particularly for a judge and other local races that you're listening to, you can make a difference. We in Illinois may not be able to make a huge difference for the presidential race, but you sitting here, you literally can make a difference and elect some of the people, including myself, to the bench and other positions. So please remember that. You are empowered. You can do this. Let's make it happen. Thank you very much.
Quick announcement, the Jamaat Isha will be after the program, so we'll have a Jamaat Isha after the program.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
My name is Joe Adi, and I thank you for the invitation to come and introduce myself to you this evening. I am a Democratic candidate for Circuit Court Judge for the Souter vacancy. Let me tell you a little bit about myself first. I have been a DuPage resident for 20 years, the first 4 years up in Roselle, and the last 16 years up in West Chicago, where I live with my husband and a couple of teenagers. Professionally, I have been an attorney for 25 years. I have been a civil servant the entire time, a public servant, and a litigator that entire time as well. I started my career at the Kane County State's Attorney's Office as a prosecutor. I was there for 5 years. And I am now currently at the Illinois Attorney General's Office, and I've been there for 20 years this August. In my entire career, I have tried hundreds of cases, from all of the criminal courts in Kane County, as well as the civil courts in Cook County. And what I want to take an opportunity to explain is a brief story that happened to me a couple of years ago. I hope that, to start first, that when you are looking at the candidates for all these different positions, but especially the judicial positions, you look at temperament and interpersonal skills. There are skills that I've been honing as the chief of the Workers' Compensation Bureau at the Illinois Attorney General's Office for the last 6 years. A couple of years ago, one of my attorneys came to me. He was my deputy chief at the time, and he was visibly agitated. His face was red, his hands were shaking, he was sweating, and he was visibly upset. And I asked him what was wrong, what had happened. And he explained to me a situation that had happened outside the courtroom, downstairs, where a woman was in a burqa, and a person who is one of our frequent witnesses, but not an assistant attorney general, not an AG employee, made a comment. I will not say the comment, but I will tell you, in his estimation, as well as my own, it was racist and it was sexist. So after he told me what had happened, I said, well, what did you do? And he said, well, we all left. We fled. I said, okay, well, now we have to figure out how to handle the situation. So I evaluated my options between calling the commission chairperson, calling this person's supervisor, or calling him directly, sending an email. I didn't know how to handle this situation, so I thought about it. And I decided I was going to call him directly. So I called him, and I explained to him that his comment was repugnant, it was disgusting, it was rude, and at the very least, it was unprofessional. I don't recall exactly what he said to me, but what I remember getting the feeling was he thought he was making a joke. So I had extended conversations with my attorneys about how we treat people with respect and fairness and decency. And that is something that I intend to take with me to the bench when I'm elected next year. So I ask you to please support me. Again, my name is Jill Adi. I've been going with Jill for Judge because it's kind of memorable. And I would appreciate your vote on March 17th as well as November 3rd. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
I'm David Guy Stevens, and my wife, Mariam, and I have visited this masjid many, many times. So it's always great to be back at ICN and seeing all the friendly and familiar faces. I'm a trial attorney, and I'm running for judge of the circuit court. are the Illinois trial courts of first impression. In my career, I've been an assistant state's attorney at both the DuPage and Kendall County State's Attorney's offices. I've also been an assistant public defender at the Kane County Public Defender's Office. Now, these are diametrically opposed positions, but what it did is it taught me to look at the law from all different angles. It has made me a better attorney, and I believe will make me a good judge to help keep things impartial. I'm not coming at the position with one viewpoint, but many. Currently, I have my own practice. I handle criminal and civil and personal injury and family law cases. So not only have I seen the law from all different angles, but I have practiced multiple areas of law. These experiences have given me extensive courtroom and trial experience. Of 172 trials, 26 of them are jury trials, and well over 1,000 hearings on all kinds of legal issues. I believe those experiences will only help becoming a trial judge. When I'm not an attorney, well, I'm always an attorney, but besides being an attorney, I'm also very committed to the community. I'm involved in a lot of mentoring programs. I mentor young attorneys, aspiring paralegals, and at-risk or minority high school students in different programs that I volunteer with. I'm a former school teacher, so I think I've gravitated towards the mentoring, but I also volunteer to judge mock trial competitions and speak in schools whenever I can. I also do pro bono work for victims of violence. Being a judge is a public servant, and being a public servant to the almost 1 million people in DuPage County is an awesome responsibility, and one that I take very seriously. I'm asking for your support and for your vote for David Guy Stevens for Circuit Court Judge. Thank you.
As you can tell, I'm not built to stand behind these things, okay? You can only see the top of my head, so that's, my hands be flying, lean about, and everything like that. But I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Chris Katrubis. I'm clerk of the Circuit Court. Many of you probably don't have an instant to even know me, because you're good citizens. You don't deal with the court system. You're not in traffic school. You don't deal with any of the problems that we deal with every single day. By way of an introduction to the office, it is found in the Article 6. It's a non-judicial officer of the court. It's a constitutionally held office. The 18th Judicial, which is DuPage County, the geopolitical line of DuPage County, is the second largest circuit in the state of Illinois. We are larger in circuit than some of the states out to the west, Wyoming, Colorado, and some of the others, by offering roughly 940,000 people. This court system has roughly 40 plus courtrooms every single day. There are thousands on thousands of cases that move through the thresholds of that office. My job is to make sure that those files are in front of the judges and the judge candidates who would like to be judges. They're in front of them. They're right, and they're there every single day. My other part of my job is to take care of evidence, and the thing that nobody else wants to deal with, but that is the fees, fines, and costs that move through the system. The court system has about, anywhere from 50 to $100 million that moves through the system in the 18th Judicial. It's a huge amount of responsibility. I do it every single day. You don't see me or my office on the front page of any newspapers, and that's the way I'm going to keep it. Now, a little bit about myself. I am the son of an immigrant. My father 102 years ago came to this country this month. 102 years ago, 1918. He came with his father and his mother, a couple brothers and sisters at that point, with the money in their pocket and their bags. And they built an immigrant life. He lived through a depression. He fought in a world war. And he instilled all of those things in me. I understand, okay, how it is. My mother, at the time, she was raised at a time when there were people said, no Irish, you'd apply for jobs. And instilled in me that, you know what, notwithstanding, you can be a good person and you treat people the way you want to be treated. So I would hope, I've been doing this job for 4 terms, I would hope that you would send me back for a 5th. The only way you can really know how I do, because many of you here don't deal with the law community, you can ask attorneys, you can ask judge candidates, and you hope you'll find the response that the DuPage County Clerk system is the best in the state of Illinois. Not by my words, you have to ask them. But I ask that you consider me on March 17th, and hopefully in the fall election on November 6th. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. My name is Ron Alvarado, Republican candidate for DuPage County Recorder in the upcoming primary and hopefully in the November election. I want to thank the Islamic Center of Naperville and the Political Engagement and Outreach Committee in particular for inviting me to this wonderful forum. A man with a Filipino heritage, I was born, raised, and schooled in the Midwest. I've been married to Victoria since 2001. Our son Max is a 6th grader at St. Michael's School in downtown Wheaton, and he named our family pet Chuck's Robert. My wife and her family are immigrants from the Philippines. My parents immigrated from the Philippines in the mid-60s in pursuit of the American dream, as many of you have come to this country to pursue yourselves. My parents are very happy, retired Americans today, and my dad in particular is a happily retired general surgeon. Instead, I went the attorney route. I'm a real estate, transactional, and mortgage foreclosure defense attorney, litigation attorney, licensed for the past 25 years. Since 2009, I've been representing mortgage foreclosure borrowers and mortgage foreclosure lawsuits. I have a published favorable opinion called City Mortgage versus Johnson in the appellate court from 2013. I also represent clients on business and employment matters, so I have a very good sense of business acumen. I'm running for the recorder's office because I want to continue serving my local community in a way that best utilizes my professional credentials and my extensive experience. I'm a great fit for this office. I want to make clear to you that this office, unlike some of the offices you've heard from some of the other candidates earlier this evening, it's not judicial, and it's not policy making or legislative. This is administrative or executive. If I am nominated for recorder this March and win the general election in November, I will be the first Asian American to win a countywide administrative office. Several of the speakers who spoke before me spoke about diversity. Just want to start by saying each of us here in this room and everywhere have unique backgrounds, unique experiences, unique heritages. Diversity I believe, is a great thing because it invites us to look at all that we have in common. And I think that anyone running for public office or serving the public or looking to serve for the public office, legislative capacity, thereby preventing fraud. That will keep homeowners, like many of you, have peace of mind that no one within the recorder's office or any hacker outside of it of all DuPage County homeowners. I'll also build upon retiring recorder Mr. Fred Buckholz's achievements to make the recorder's office more transparent and accessible by looking into opening up the recorder's office either one Saturday a month or maybe one evening a week, perhaps. Trust in government begins with trust in public records, like the land records that are kept in the recorder's office. My accomplishments, qualifications, and experience show that I will succeed as the next recorder of DuPage County. Thank you for your time. Please vote for me on or before March 17th for DuPage County Recorder. Thanks again.
Hello everyone, I'm Amy Chavez and I'm running for DuPage County Board in District 5. And I got involved with DuPage County Board when we were having trouble with our elections equipment. And as some of you may remember, we were making the news because our votes were not getting counted very quickly here in DuPage County. So I started attending some of the meetings as a concerned citizen to find out what was going on. And then we had a representative that was drawn out of her district after winning a primary and was no longer eligible on the general election. So I became a little bit more concerned and I attended a few more meetings. And what I realized in attending these meetings is a lot of the experience that I had as a business professional. I used to work for Lisa Technologies and I was actually the liaison between the Salt Lake City Olympic Committee and the engineers right here in Warrenville. And my job was to make sure that we built out all of the telecommunications venues within a $350 million budget. On the county board, our budget is around $480 million. So those numbers don't faze me. I've handled a $350 million budget. Every part of that RFP hit my desk. So I know how to stay in budget. I know how to dig deep into a budget. And that's something that's not happening right now at DuPage County Board. Right now we've got a budget that has not been workshopped very well. We need to do that. As far as our community, I am one of the founders of We Are One Naperville. And that was, and we raise our kids together alongside each other. We've traveled to Aruba together, to Costa Rica together. They're actually members at the Villa Park Mosque, but I think some of you may know them because they live here in Naperville. And we were having dinner in the days after the 2016 election, and Avi and Isa, we overheard them talking, and they said, are we gonna need to leave this country? And as a family, and as families that are raising our children together, Miriam and I put our heads together and we said, we've got to figure out some sort of forum where we can allow communities to come together. And that's why we founded We Are One Naperville, and we're now 1,100 members strong, and we're really proud of that. It's a great community. I recommend that you find us on Facebook. Thank you. So please look into that. I would so appreciate your vote. I'd love to sit next to Sadia on the board. There is an open seat. She doesn't run again for another 2 years, but I know many of you are familiar with her and the hard work that she's put in. The seat next to her, the Jim Healy seat, is opening up. I'd love to sit by her and for she and I to work together. So thank you all again. Vote Amy Chavez 2020 is my website on March 17th. Thank you.
Hello everyone, thank you for hearing me tonight. Thank you for this very impressive turnout. I've appeared before your body a couple of mental illness and drug abuse. It'd be an opportunity for folks to meet their elected officials and hear from experts on 3 times. I've been endorsed by Naperville Police and Fire staff all 3 times. I'll continue to always be a very strong advocate and supporter for our public safety officials and make sure
Democrat. This is one of my first time, this actually is my first time running for any kind of elected position. I am not a career politician by any means. I'm one of the women that actually got involved after the last election in 2016 that said enough. A little bit about me. I have lived most of my life in DuPage County, most of it in the village of Lyle. I've been married for 36 years. I have 2 grown children who are doing wonderfully, and actually 2 little grandchildren. I have my experience, why I'm bringing it to the board. I have 20 plus years of experience working for a municipality, working to do all of the building permits, work with all the contractors, work with all of the homeowners as they follow through all of the things they need to get done around their house. Property maintenance complaints. I am a facilitator of people's needs and wants and getting things done. I've been doing it for 20 plus years. I think that will fit quite well with DuPage County and dealing with that. I also have 10 plus years of certified floodplain management. In that I'm dealing with all of the flood issues that have been coming around. My 3 tenets of my candidacy is being fact-based, a novel thing in this day and age, actually making decisions based on facts, forward-thinking. Climate change is real, and I think DuPage County should be one of the leaders in this, as we know the climate is definitely changing. And one of the things that I think is very important to this crowd, most important to me, is fair-minded. That means that all citizens of all backgrounds, any kind of culture, religion, race, creed, color, should be treated equally. When the first ban came around in 2016, I was not a lawyer, I am not a lawyer, like Ozzy was. And I sat at home with my family, and we were very, very, very frustrated that this is what our world was becoming. So I figured, what could I do? So I figured out I would go drive to a house in Riverside and get as many "hate is not welcome in my home" signs, and I distributed it to all of my neighbors. And they're still outside of my home 3 years later because I am going to fight for all of my neighbors, whoever you are. This is what I'm going to bring to you guys. I'm very sad. I'm getting to the age where a lot of my friends are actually thinking about leaving Illinois and DuPage County. I think we are one of the best states and counties in the world. And when I get to DuPage County Board, I'm going to fight hard to keep it that way. My name again is Paula Garcia. Thank you to the ICN for having me. And if you want any more information, you can reach or you look at my website. It's PDG, Paula Garcia, for DuPage. Thank you very much.
Good evening. Thank you all for being here, sticking around. If any of the kids are still here, I have 3 little boys at home, so more power to you for making it through, guys. My name is Mary Jo Mullen, and I'm running for County Board in District 5. And I stand before you a road or build a building. I want you to go out and do something that has a positive impact on people's lives. So as I became an engineer, I started working in STEM and mentoring and teaching young people in science, technology, engineering, and math. I spent 10 years of my career working at FEMA in the National Flood Insurance Program as a federal servant. And while there, I managed projects with local communities and my engineering teams to identify flood hazards throughout our communities, to help property owners and our communities become more safe and resilient from flooding and storms. And I also briefed Congress on our program and educated their staff on what we did in the flood insurance program. I also had the opportunity to build $1 billion program called Risk Map, which brought all of our work in FEMA together to identify, map, analyze, and plan for how to prevent storm and flood disasters. I left FEMA to come back to Chicago to be with our family, and shortly after leaving, started my own business, where I work today, helping my program at FEMA again, as well as working with other small businesses and nonprofit organizations to manage big change and to make strides and grow. In 2016, following the presidential election, I was really concerned for my rights as a woman and the rights of my friends who are minorities. Felt very dismal in those days after the election. So I decided to take action by running for office. And in 2017, I was elected to the office of Lisle Township Supervisor, where I continue to serve today. There, I get to work with multiple populations, social services. We have a food pantry, a jobs program, senior services that help all of our community members in need be able to rise up and be whole. I want to bring all of my professional experience and public service experience together to focus the county board on improving the quality of life for all residents. I believe we can do this by focusing on county-wide social services that really help those vulnerable people. We can improve our mental health care, reduce the stigma around coming forward and asking for help so that we stop the suicides in our communities. I believe we need to be more sustainable in an environmental perspective and make our footprint on the environment smaller and leave a better future for our kids. And lastly, we need to grow our resilience to storms and floods that damage our homes and hurt our residents. So on March 17th, I asked for your vote for DuPage County Board for Barry Mullen to really be able to focus again on improving the quality of life for every resident of the county. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Candace Adams, and I'm running for Clerk of the Circuit Court as a Democrat here from DuPage County. A little bit about me. I'm a mom of 3. I am a practicing attorney downtown. I run a department for the firm that I work at. Revenue generating department is one of 3 for the firm. I'm sorry that Jay left because I was going to thank him for loving his family member who's an attorney, because we can, all of our attorneys need all the love we can get. To know why I'm running for this position specifically, you have to know a little bit about where I came from and how I grew up. So I grew up in Cleveland Heights, Ohio, a very diverse community. My mom, for the majority of my growing up years, was the diversity manager for General Electric in Cleveland, Ohio. As part of growing up in such a diverse community, we were often told and taught that we treat each other with respect, regardless of learning about the Quran and the Torah and the Bible. We all celebrated each other for what we had. But I also learned while growing up that a lot of the resources that are available to some are not available to all. So specifically why I'm running for this position is because Chris Ketcher-Rubis, who was up here speaking earlier, detailed the position generally pretty accurately. But what's happening in communities around us that's not happening here are things like expungement summits that really help our community members clear a path and military entrance. When I was younger and growing up, so what? Well, now that you're a minority, you have to do something to fix the disparity between you and the other. Outside of hours, helping women of sexual assault learn how to navigate the court systems and get access to the resources that they really need. I've responded to many hospital rooms in the middle of the night to make sure that a sexual assault victim, male or female, black or white, Muslim or Christian, knows where they can go to get the resources that they are entitled to receive. And that's why I'm running for clerk of the circuit court, because I want to make sure our community knows what court or what resources the court has to offer them, and that when you enter the courtroom, you're not afraid to be there. So that's a little bit about me. My name is Candace Adams, and I'm running for clerk of the circuit court, and I hope I have your vote for March 17th.
Asking state candidates to respond to that because they respond to the issues. Okay, let's have the candidates come up. Thank you. And I'd like to give a round of applause to everyone that's in this room, because there's two very significant parts of this, right? First part is the candidates.
Thank you. My name is Greg Schwarzy. I'm a candidate for DuPage County Board 6. There's just a little bit of Naperville that's in my district, District 6, the north side of Naperville. There's plenty of Warrenville, a little bit of Aurora, and then up north and west of the county. District 6, but you have friends, please mention my name. I am running unopposed. Real quick about myself. The reason I'm running is I'm just very, very passionate about public service, my public service. I'm a 26-year firefighter, 20 years in the last 20 years in Carroll Stream. I'm a paramedic. I also serve as the public education coordinator at the firehouse, so I go to schools, I go to the preschools, I talk to children. I got this little puppet show where I got a little Sparky puppet on my hand and I actually sing a song. I've taught Sunday school. I've also served as a village trustee in Carroll Stream for years. I just got elected to my 4th term. These things, these experiences, and my democratic values guide what's important to me, the things that are important. Those who need it the most, taking care of our seniors. I've been on 6 opioid deaths as a paramedic. I've seen what's not working. We need to come up with new strategies. That's something I'm interested in. I'd say my biggest thing is, I have to go, but it's about being able to work with others, treat people with kindness and respect. Thank you very much.
Hi there. Shower. I am running to be state representative in the 49th district, which is the seat that Representative Villa currently holds, for a meeting with our current state senator. And I believe that our elected officials need to listen with compassion and empathy. It is my job to understand, to walk in your shoes, and I just want you to know that as a leader, be and act with compassion and conviction.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. My name is Kid Mejia Beal. I'm running for Illinois State Rep in District 42. I know it's late, so I'm going to make this very quick for you. I had the privilege of going to a high school on the south side of Chicago, near Midway Airport. It was one of the most multiracial high schools. I watched after 9/11 while many of my friends from the Muslim community were pulled for driving near the airport, because that's where that stemmed me to look into politics, to figure out how I could make the world a better place. Over and over again tonight, you've heard about diversity, diversity, diversity. Diversity is what makes us unique, but our unity is what makes us strong. And we need unity. And that unity includes folks like you and I in a room and being counted, being at the table. I am not going to fight for you, I'm going to fight with you. Many of the challenges that are faced in this community are challenges that I've faced myself, including having a difficult name to pronounce, that sometimes people mess up. And on that note, my name is on your team, and you can find me at KMB for 40. Thank you all.
Support this message. My name's Jackie. I'm here on behalf of a very good friend that I've known for over 15 years. His name is Nick Palmer. Currently currently the Chief of Staff for the Will County Executive. Most of your candidates here tonight have been from DuPage County. I do want to thank ICN for hosting this event in Will County. We represent the 7th Street. We are a large part of the Naperville community, and Will County is one of the largest Will County, just south of Joliet. And it supplies all of those goods that you like to buy on Amazon. If you are any kind of an online shopper, your stuff is coming into the area. They also serve the areas like Minneapolis and Detroit and many other cities. So as Chief of Staff for the Will County Executive's Office, Nick Palmer successfully has fought to lower Will County's property tax rate 5 years in a row, and he's helped secure $1.2 billion in state funding to repair our county roads that carry all those wonderful trucks full of Amazon goods. So I really hope that you vote for Nick Palmer on March 17th. There's some information in the back of the room. Thank you.
Before you leave, Jackie, is there a way to contact Nick? Is there a reason why he is not present today?
He's in Frankfurt, Illinois. Will County is quite large, and he's having from Frankfurt.
So he has another event tonight? Okay, that's very important to share. Okay.
So I'm Jeff Jacobson. I'm running for judge. Some of you may have known me from being here, being involved. I've been practicing law for about 30 years. There was a talk about women's rights. I've been endorsed by Personal PAC. I've been endorsed by DuPage Now Group and the unions. I am running unopposed as a Democrat in the primary. So personally, I don't need your vote, but I would love it. What I want to talk to you about is something that's important to you, not me. I got a little literature tonight that only 10% of Muslims will vote in the primary, and that's sad. So what I'd like you to do is go talk to your neighbors, go talk to your friends. It doesn't take long to vote. It's critical. It's essential that your community get out and vote. It has to do with power and it has to do with the right. I lost last election cycle countywide of about 930,000 people by 388. That might have been just what's in this room here tonight. That's how critical each one of your votes is. So make sure you vote in the primary, and it's Jeff Jacobson for judge.
Hello, my name is Bruce Fogarty, auditor, which of all the offices and the races you've heard about tonight, is probably the least amount of curb appeal for most people. So I've got an uphill battle. I am running for DuPage County Auditor because I believe my 25 years of accounting bearing on my ability to contribute to the risk-free operations of the county. It is my belief systematic risks that could be lingering in county operations. I think the people of DuPage County need a robust auditor who is engaged and doesn't take rely off. On March 17th, when you've asked for a Democratic ballot, please consider voting for me, Bruce Fogarty, for County Auditor. Have a good night. Thank you.
In the public sector, in the private sector, and I also do criminal defense. Like Azam, I am highly recommended by the DuPage County Bar Association, and I was recommended by the Illinois State Bar Association Judiciary Poll. So, and like Jeff, I'm unopposed in the primary on March 17th. All of that being said, I do look forward to your support. I'm here asking for your vote. I've left some of my cards on the back table so that you can thank you for your support. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Bill White. I'm running the Democratic primary for the office of County Auditor. That's a very office, I said earlier. But before I talk about the auditor, I want to say earlier this evening, somebody said this is the most important election of our lifetime. I believe that's true. I'm a proud Democrat. I stand with the congressman that spoke to you earlier. I stand with the state representative candidates on the Democratic side, and I believe even in obscure offices like the auditor or the county board, all of us need to be unified in fighting the agenda of administration. That said, the role of the auditor doesn't really involve those issues. And what the auditor does, in my opinion, what the auditor should do is help all of the other departments of the county work better. I have experience in government. I served as the board president of District 99, that's Downers Grove North, Downers Grove South. I served on the Downers Grove Village Council. And I define good government as transparent, efficient, and returning value back to the community for our tax dollars. The auditor's role. Thank you. Okay, I was asking to repeat this. I define good government as it should get out.
My name is Alice Wilson, and I am a candidate for judge in DuPage County. I am running on the Suitor vacancy against Ms. Jill Oddie. She spoke earlier. Now, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I have been a lawyer for 29 years, practicing solely in criminal, divorce, and family law. I've also been a judge, not a black robe judge, but an administrative law judge in the city of Chicago, whereby many of you, your colleagues and friends, came before me. And when you came before me, I was very fair, I was very impartial, and very respectful to the people that appeared before me. In addition to being an administrative law judge, I've also been an arbitrator, whereby I heard personal injury and mostly contract cases. Now, you're the Muslim community. Your plight is very similar to my plight, an African American. I moved here from down south, and I grew up in the middle of the civil rights era when my parents were marching for civil rights in the South. As much as I could and as much as they would let me, I would march with them, but it was too dangerous for children most of the time. But I was serious about civil rights. And I know that you're serious about your rights as Muslims. And I will be serious about your rights when I take the bench as a judge. Please vote for me on March 17th as the next judge in DuPage County. Thank you. Alice Wilson.
Well, the peace is not there. I am running on the account of human rights. Human rights here and human rights abroad. Human rights are violated throughout the world, specifically the human rights in India, Kashmir, Georgia, you name it, we have to fight for that. I am here as the first representative of Illinois, as a Muslim candidate. This will be your faith in the United States Congress. You have to realize your importance, what role we have to play. We are changing the history. This will be the history of Illinois. I am running for the Congress. I will bring the accountability. I will bring transparency. I will bring the representation of all the Muslim community. I will be standing firm on the right side, not on the wrong side, when our congressman is standing with Modi, who is the murderer of Gujarat. We have to realize what is important at this level. We have to present our community the human rights here. Human rights here has been health care. Human rights here is the education. Human rights here is the just immigration policy. We have to realize the climate change is real. The climate change, if we will not deal with as crisis, there will be a lot of refugees which we have to take care. I am here representing all the Muslims of Chicagoland area. I was the Congress, I was in the CIOJC, I was the first founding member of CIOJC. Don't allow me to come in front, but I am last here, but I am first everywhere. You will realize it will be a change in America. I will be the first one to
Thank you. The candidates that are here running for Congress, can you please raise your hands so the audience can recognize them? The first question is for all three of you. I'm going to give you, hopefully,